What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to a new shorter deck video I'm showing off on YGO Omega. While waiting for the ban list to take effect, I decided to try some other things out, including the new Amazement cards that came out recently. Initially, I tested Arlekino and the traps as an engine and other control decks like Paleo Frogs, but I felt like trying the entire archetype as a whole would be a decent option. This is a heavy control deck, so you guys know it isn't common for the channel, but I didn't mind some of the results I got. A few opponents were a little upset going second against this deck, as you could imagine, and quite a few surrenders happened after their initial plays were stopped. Amazements pretty much have two main monsters, with the third being iffy for now and the fourth being stuck in the OCG. There are a few similarities to Altergeist, but the deck uses a different style of traps that equip to monsters on the field. Comica is the main searcher for the trap, setting it directly onto the field with the ability to change the target of the equipped trap cards you have active. Arlekino is the boss monster and the core monster of the deck who can special summon himself when a trap card is activated. When your opponent summons a monster, he can equip any attraction trap from the deck to them face up, letting you activate it in the same turn. To make things even better, he can banish any number of attraction traps from the grave to pop that many cards on the field, leading to some easy removal since he will be equipping one each time your opponent summons a monster. Arlekino and Comica both add up to 4,000 attacks, so the goal is pretty much to disrupt your opponent and clear the board for 2 turns of direct attacks for lethal. Still, there are quite a few attraction traps that help out differently. All of the attraction traps have 2 effects, one when equipped to an opponent's monster and one when equipped to an Amazement monster you control. While Arlekino auto-equips the trap to an opponent's monster, Comica can change the target to your Amazement monster, letting you use whatever effect you need easier. The traps each also reflect a different archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh!, so I'll also point those out to make things more interesting. The Ghost Trick Horror House is the most common trap you want to use, as when equipped to an opposing monster, it can flip them face down, easily preventing extra deck use for the most part. While equipped to your monsters, you can negate the effects of an opponent's monster, giving you a stable way to maintain a monster negate since it won't leave the field in that case. This is probably the most important trap in the deck since it provides the easiest form of disruption against most decks, shutting some of them down completely even. The Nephthys Cyclo-Coaster is a basic spell of trap card removal while equipped to your side, but the trap is also a monster search if equipped to your opponent's monster. If you don't have Arlekino or Comica, this is your best hope at getting them outside of the search spell Amazing Time Ticket. With only those 6 monsters in the deck, you want to get to them as soon as possible. The FA Rapid Racing trap lets you shuffle opponent cards from the grave back into the deck while equipped to your side, and it can change the level of an opponent's monster if equipped to them. This doesn't leave the field unless the monster leaves, so it is pretty decent in disruption. I did sleep on this at first, but if you are up against a grave reliant deck like Eldritch or Tri-Brigade, this does help a lot for constant shuffling. The level modulation hasn't come up yet for me, mainly because linked decks don't require it. That's pretty much the only attraction traps I run, since the others are really lackluster, involving changing attack points and shuffling a card from your hand back to draw. One potential addition in the OCG will be the Plunder Patrol's Vanquish Viking, which lets you negate attacks and snatch steal monsters or bounce them, but for now we're going to have to wait. I do run a lone copy of the field spell, which isn't too mandatory for the deck, but it does have some decent use in letting you activate traps set in the same turn, as well as getting some back from the grave by swapping them out. It's okay, but not a priority to get to early on. Everything else in the deck is generic disruption, and if you have personal preferences on your trap, you can use those as well. Impermanence helps in summoning Arlekino a lot easier, while Dogmatika Punishment is one of the best traps in the game right now, even alone. I did talk quite a bit longer than usual instead of covering the replay, but it shouldn't be too hard to figure out how to play this deck. Despite Ignisters being a very scary deck now, they are easily shut down by clogging their main monster zone with a set monster, or shuffling a key revive from the grave back into the deck if you don't get rid of the field spell. The new ban list is in effect as of yesterday, so stay tuned for some of those decks who've been blessed a little bit. Enjoy the replays and make sure to check me out on Twitch for the live duels.